The Loom Weaver and the Whispering Sands. Ilara lived in the sky-touched village, a place nestled among peaks that kissed the clouds. It was a realm where the wind carried ancient echoes, and the sun painted the mountains in hues of forgotten dreams. Yet, despite the breathtaking beauty, a quiet despair had settled upon the people. The crops, once vibrant, now yielded meager harvests. The streams, once robust, trickled thinly. And worst of all, the children, once full of laughter, now played in hushed silence, their eyes reflecting the somber mood of their elders. Ilara was a loom weaver, her fingers skilled in interlacing threads of wool and silk into patterns that mirrored the village's fading glory. But her true gift lay not in her hands, but in her voice. She was a storyteller, a keeper of the old tales, a whisperer of forgotten sagas. In a world increasingly dominated by the stark realities of survival, her art was deemed a luxury, a frivolous pastime. What good are stories, the elders would sigh, when our stomachs are empty and our wells dry? One evening, as the last sliver of sun dipped behind the jagged peaks, painting the sky in a final desperate burst of orange and purple, Ilara noticed a small group of children huddled near the well. Their faces were smudged with dirt, their clothes threadbare, and their gazes fixed on the parched earth. A wave of sorrow washed over her. It was then a spark ignited within her, a realization that perhaps, even in the darkest of times, stories held a power beyond immediate sustenance. She sat down amongst them, not with a bowl of grain, but with a tale. "Have I ever told you," she began, her voice a soft melody, "of the sunstone which warmed the earth from within, and the rain bringers whose tears fed the rivers?" The children, at first hesitant, slowly leaned in. As Ilara spun the narrative of ancient heroes who communed with the elements, of a time when abundance flowed freely, their eyes began to widen. Their small hands, once clutching at empty pockets, now mimicked the flight of mythical birds or traced the paths of hidden springs. For that fleeting hour, the hunger in their bellies was overshadowed by the hunger for wonder. News of Ilara's story spread, not among the pragmatic adults, but through the whispers of the children. They began to seek her out, begging for more. She told them about the stone of resilience, which taught the mountains to stand firm against the wind, and the song of growth, which coaxed seeds from the earth. Each story was not just entertainment, it was imbued with the values and wisdom of their ancestors: resilience, interconnectedness, hope. One day, a young boy named Kale, usually the most withdrawn, approached her after a tale of a mythical river that flowed underground. "Ilara," he whispered, do you think the old river still flows somewhere beneath us, even if we cannot see it?" Ilara smiled. "The stories say that truth can be hidden, Kale, but it is never truly lost." Inspired by Ilara's narrative, Kale, with the boundless energy of youth, began to scratch at the dry riverbed, searching for signs. Other children, emboldened by the tales of perseverance, joined him. The adults, initially dismissive, watched with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Yet, something shifted. The children's renewed purpose, their shared activity, injected a subtle current of hope into the stagnant air of the village. The hushed silence began to break, replaced by the murmurs of children collaborating, their small voices discussing theories of hidden water paths. As days turned to weeks, the children, guided by the narratives that had planted seeds of possibility in their minds, stumbled upon an anomaly, a patch of ground that felt slightly cooler, slightly softer than the surrounding baked earth. It was a subtle sign, easily overlooked by eyes hardened by despair, but seen by those whose imaginations had been awakened by stories. Ilara, Witnessing their fervor, approached the village elders. "The children," she urged, "they have found something. Not water, perhaps, but a hint. The old stories speak of such signs." Reluctantly, swayed by the sheer persistence of the young ones, the elders agreed to allow a small digging party. The digging was arduous, the earth unyielding. Doubts resurfaced, heavier than the soil they unearthed. But whenever spirits flagged, Ilara would recount a tale of a hero who dug through mountains, or a community that found sustenance in unexpected places. She reminded them of the sunstone's warmth and the rainbringer's persistence. The narratives became a wellspring of resilience, a shared memory of triumph that spurred them onward. Finally, after days of sweat and toil, a faint gurgle echoed from beneath the earth. A gasp rippled through the small crowd, then a trickle, a stream, and soon a steady flow of clear, cold water bubbled to the surface. The ancient underground river, whose existence had long been relegated to myth, had been rediscovered. The water didn't just quench their thirst, it nourished their souls. With renewed spirits, the villagers worked together, revitalizing their fields, their laughter returning louder and more vibrant than ever before. The sky-touched village thrived once more, not just because of the rediscovered water, but because of the rediscovered belief in themselves, in the hidden possibilities, in the power of their shared heritage. The people of the sky-touched village learned that day that narratives are not mere words. They are the architecture of our understanding, the blueprints of our dreams. They shape our perceptions, instill our values, and ignite our courage. They remind us that even in the face of daunting challenges, the greatest power often lies not in what we physically possess, but in the stories we tell ourselves and the stories we choose to live by.